Welcome back to How China Works. I'm Brendan Davis. My co-host Yinging Li will be with us in just a few moments with the interview this week. I am recording this introduction from my friend's house in Palo Alto, and you may hear some sounds of life outside. There was just I guess you would call it a murder of crows flying by, and there's traffic and there are leaf blowers, and I am enjoying being back in the world, and so some of the world is creeping in since I'm not in a studio today. But Yinging Li and I were just very fortunate to be at the Horasis China meeting in Las Vegas. Now, this is one of the world's largest independent think tanks that looks at the issues that developed and developing countries face as they try to work together, and specifically the China meeting is what it sounds like. It's a lot of the top business and political leaders, as well as some academics and media folks and others who are interested specifically in the China-global relationship, as China, of course, is going through its unprecedented rise. And on the sidelines of that Horasis China event, Yinging was able to pull aside several people for some short interviews. We're very happy to bring you one of those today. We have Li Shu. Li founded and runs a company called International Mergers and Acquisitions, IMA, and their principal work is indicated by that name, but her diverse experience and perspective brings a lot of added value that extends far beyond their stated scope of work. Ying sat down with her for a very tight and focused conversation, and we have several more of these coming to you in the next few weeks. I'm also excited to tell you about our upcoming How China Works live events. This is something that Ying and I worked to set up once we knew we were both going to come here and attend the Horasis China meeting. We have now set up 3 live events, and I'm very glad to say that these are all free and open to the public thanks to the generous support of the presenting organizations and sponsors. The first event is November 3rd. It's the morning of 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. at One Piece Work in San Francisco. That's at 414 Brannan Street in San Francisco. Later that afternoon, Ying and I will make our way to Stanford University. We will be at the Correct Pavilion from 3 to 5 p.m., which is at 565 Mayfield in Palo Alto, California, which is the city I'm in right now. Then the evening of November 5th from 6 to 8 p.m., we will be at the Haas Business School at UC Berkeley in room 270. Now, these events, as I said, are all free. Also, in case you are driving or jogging or otherwise don't have the ability to write down that information, you can visit howchinaworkspodcast.com/resources, which is linked in the show notes here. You can go there to find all this information specifically. That way you can find out when and where we will be at these various places. We do hope you will join us. We also have several other traditional interviews to share once we figure out the scheduling of all of this, but the audio from these live shows is going to be coming online pretty soon also. So stay tuned for all of this. For now, though, please enjoy Ying's interview with Li Shu.
Welcome to How China Works, Ms. Xu. Thanks for being on our show.
Well, thank you very much for offering this great opportunity. It's my pleasure to be this platform.
Briefly give us a 30-second introduction of who you are, what do you do?
Sure. So my name is Li Shu, founder of International Mergers and Acquisitions. What we specialize is helping companies to do business in a foreign country. For example, they can go to a foreign country to buy a company or set up an office from scratch, organic growth, the business in a foreign market, or invest in a different foreign country. And over the years, we noticed there's a lot of challenge around this area, from how to hire the right people in the local market, how to select the right company to work with, and how to grow and build a team in a foreign country. So we developed this business around this area and hire the people with international management experience and also investment banking experience. And we help companies to do business in all the countries, not just 1 or 2. And right now we have about 20 people in 7 different countries, over 8 different language support, native language support. And most industry we focus on are pharmaceutical, real estate, energy, and also technology.
To help Chinese go global is one of our true objectives here. And the most important thing here at this conference, Horasis China meeting, we're talking about how Chinese and China go global and be really embraced by this globalized world. And so we're interested in learning more about your particular experience. And let's first of all start about your drive in doing this particular business in helping business to be successful in a different market. I noticed that you have a Chinese background.
Yes.
So I'd like to share with us a little bit more about it.
Sure. So I'm originally from Shanghai and typical Shanghainese and speak very well Shanghainese dialect. And I've been in US for 18 years already, and most of my career are in United States.
Since when you started doing this?
That's quite a story, actually. Before that, I was in corporate. First 10 years was very technical, doing a lot of auditing, financial, those kind of things. And then the last 8 to 10 years, I focused on management, leadership, turnaround companies. And I was come to a point, I feel like stuck in the corporate side. And I went to Africa and climbed Kilimanjaro. One thing I would like to be proud to share is, I did the entire Kilimanjaro from zero to the top of the mountain within 2 months. I think it's pretty okay. So one thing I learned from that trip is I can do a lot more than most people think, or I think. So I came back to United States. I decided to start a business. So I started to think about what can I do and what kind of competitive advantage I have. So as a Chinese-born American citizen, my natural advantage is between U.S. and China culture. But my personal network and also background is always very diverse. I always have all kinds of friends in my network and all kinds of people hang out together all the time. So since day one, I know I want to do a true global, which means besides U.S. and China, there's Europe and South America, Latin, and also Africa. So
what does it mean for a company to truly go global?
When companies truly go global, what I notice nowadays, when people say they want to go global, they tend to stay at a very surface level. They only go to one country. As long as they left their home country, they claim they are a global company. The true global business should be is they stand at a global level, regardless of where their home country is, stay at a global level, focus on what the business they want to achieve, and look at the global resource and maximize from each region, each country in this way, and also minimize the risk and maximum. Give you one example. One of the companies we work with was a U.S. company. They're trying to acquire a German distributor. Strategically, they have to do that because in the past they go through the sales through distributor, which they lose the context of their customers, and then they don't know what the user want and what kind of the latest direction the market needs. So by take control of the distributor, acquire company, they can have access to the customer data. So, of course, when they actually trying to acquire a distributor, run into a lot of challenges like, well, how to dealing with German laws, tax law, local people, the German employee, because in Germany you can't just fire people like Americans do. So with all these concerns, they engaged us and we helped them go to the city close to Munich, help them do due diligence and handhold them every single step from strategic decision making and negotiation. And
do you have local staff in Germany?
Over the years, we built a very, very wide network. As of right now, I would say in most major cities in the world, we have contacts. And especially come to the professional service side, lawyers, CPA firms, we are well connected with most firms. So one phone call away, we can connect with the local experts.
Those are all benefits of globalization.
Absolutely.
And digitalized and connected world, right?
Yes, absolutely. So from this standpoint, if a company not take advantage of this kind of a resource, their naturally are behind their competitor.
I see.
So in a way, globalization is a must to do thing, not a choice.
Yeah, especially. We actually interview a lot of people who are experts in this field when it comes to really understanding what it means to truly go global and building a globalized and multicultural team. So we are quite interested in your experience in dealing with multicultural team, which is quite a fascinating topic at today's event as well, right?
I would say personal experience is really a heck of a lot of fun to have a multicultural team. In our own team, we have about 20 people from 7 different countries, ranged from 20 years old to 60 years old. And we have Latinos, Africans, and Europeans and Asian. I would say each culture has their own came with different unique advantages. So as a leader, the key is learn how to work with them and create a culture which is summarize all the strengths from all cultures.
So how do you work with them?
just like in a human. Well,
A human,
on my new business card, we say behind the culture, we all want the same thing.
Oh, I love it.
Because no matter who you are, Asians or Europeans or from Africa, we all want the same thing. We want trust, respect. As business person, we all want professional service. We all want to be receive the final deliverable professionally and paid a reasonable price. We all want the same thing and a faster speed deliver good customer service.
Right, the same goal as the more you focus on addressing the same objective,
Common ground,
and it's common ground and the basic human value and quality of life,
Yes.
and better standard of pursuit of life, career, everything. I think this every person around the world from all kinds of different culture,
Right.
want the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, besides cultural difference, there's age, there's generation, there's religious difference and gender difference, and come to international space, there's also, which I created myself, is a difference international savviness.
Right.
Some are very domestic. When we come to Damascus, I used to live in Texas for 13 years. There are a lot of significant Texas people never left Texas. They don't have passports. So it'd be very difficult for these people to work with people from New York because of the cultural difference within the United States. So I would say, the gap on the cultural diversity is also a huge difference for our business.
Do you have specific stories or solutions or examples to showcase how you specifically dealing with cultural conflicts? Whenever, let's say, a conflict could be your team have some disagreement, or some customers and clients have some, different views, perspective on your approaches, and how do you address them?
Absolutely, I'd love to share. I would actually go back to my corporate days, the 2 turnaround projects I did. The last corporate job I ever had is a Canadian oil service company. It's a Canadian company acquired a U.S. company. In theory, the culture should be really, really close. How far it can be, Canadians and versus Americans. However, in the day-to-day, people say, "Oh, this is my Canadian way," and Americans say, "No, this is our American way," and they fight all day long, all the time. Very simple thing is it never can get done. So finally, when I started my position there, and I just say, okay, what's the right way for us, not you and me? It's what's our way? What's the right way for everybody? So I started saying that and trying to basically come best practice from both sides, and both sides agreed to buy in, and then we agreed and then execute from there.
Which means each side compromises a little bit.
Yes.
Which means you are really focused on the common goal instead of who is right, who is wrong.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. And then, so, instead of let me, just focus on we, then everybody will be a lot happier. Because once the project is done, nobody's going to complain anymore.
Yeah, yes. Especially, this always goes back to what we focus mostly, East meets West.
Right.
And
yeah, of course, come to culture-wise, East and West are the biggest cultural difference. So especially what I see is a lot of Chinese companies come to the United States. The biggest question is, do I hire Americans or hire Chinese, speak perfect Chinese? So in our own case, one of our clients is a Chinese middle market size company. They came to the United States, they opened office, they hired some Americans and hired the rest all Chinese speaker. The challenge of a small Chinese company hire a Chinese speaker is the typical they can't attract the top talent. Typical is the people don't have experience, just out of school. So they don't know how to really do anything. Yes, they speak Chinese, but they have no experience. So they end up these people, they on the payroll but don't do anything. And as far as the American side, because the culture difference, the boss wants culture difference, but the other thing is more the business experience. So the CEO really don't know how to hire a person, to be honest. So they hire a person they did not background check, and they did not verify the experience. The person sounds very good, look very sharp, but no experience, no background check, which that background check turned out to have a lot of problem. So of course later on, the person in charge of the business development sales, he never sold anything, and later on, he even blackmailed the owner for whatever reason he think he should have deserved. So of course, the whole company was full of drama the first couple of years until later on we came in. We just helped them to straight up, let few people go and clean up all the historic issue. They also hired the wrong CPA firm because the property tax had a huge penalty with local tax authority. So we came in straight out, dealing with the authority, use our resources and just help them straight out numbers and get to their portion back, and then let the non-performing people go, and then help them to dealing with whatever needed for daily operation.
That kind of partially explained my question next, which is when you are operating in the US, right? Mostly, even though you're facing a multicultural group, so in which category of culture or law institution you really follow more? Because really when it comes to dealing with complicated issues like this, we just mentioned, right?
In a way, it's not complicated when it's not complicated. So really, from business standpoint, you always follow the. One thing people don't know is that you can choose the law. You can choose which country, which state in the United States, you can choose which state law to follow. Of course, generally speaking, people don't, quite straightforward. If they are operating in Texas, they choose state of Texas law. If they operate in New York, they choose New York law.
California.
So, but of course, they can do a little more sophisticated, fancy. They can, in US, you can choose the British law, or in Mexico, you can choose US law. But let's don't go that far. So in generally speaking, you choose the local law, work is a local, which in the legal side, you always cover, if a technology have IP, and generally speaking, you have employment law, you have business law, and of course, dealing with merger acquisition, merger M&A type of legal issues, security laws, and different type of lawyers. The key is just be aware what kind of legal issues you're running into.
And hire
the right lawyers, which is a big key. One big challenge I see all the Chinese companies come to the United States, they make two type of mistakes. One is go to the most expensive law firm, hire the most expensive lawyers, which don't care about this business at all, because they are. I don't think they even enjoy working with Chinese clients, but the Chinese client pay, right? So they take them as a client, but don't really. Trying to, as a professional service provider, we say we need to care our customer. We want to add a value, but in reality, there's no value added service. There is no respect, and a lot of times, to be honest, I see a lot of disrespectful action as well. Or some Chinese business owner, especially smaller size companies, they go to Chinatown, hire the cheaper lawyer, which of course the professionalism, the technical knowledge, or even ethical is an issue sometimes. Or we often see an immigration lawyer trying to draft commercial contracts. It's just like.
So when choosing lawyer cross-culturally, maybe we need to really be more aware, right?
I think it's the come to professional service. China is America is different from all the other places in the world. In America, it's very specialized. Everything's specialized. Go to see doctor, you have to see different type doctors. Go to see lawyer, you have different lawyers. Which outside the United States is one-stop service. Including in Germany, go to CP firm, they also have legal service as well most time. In China, if you go to law firm, you have all kinds of legal service there. So when people from China or even Europe come to the United States, they oftentimes don't know that kind of difference, not aware, and then they end up, you're really at the mercy of the professional service provider to tell you, I'm not the right person for you, right? If they say, yeah, I'm the right person, I speak your language, then immediately people engage them and end up with wrong service.
See, do not assume that the market, the culture you engage is the same from our own lens. Right?
Yeah, so I would always say, tell all the business owner is, do your homework, and go there to take a look before you do any business, and then know what you want. Like if I'm hiring a lawyer, I'll go in a new country, I know I need a business advice, and I need 15 years of experience dealing with like 10 cases at least similar to mine, and be able to communicate me within a reasonable amount of time, and his good reputation, no criminal, because lawyers most likely have license, no bad record. So these are a checklist I'm looking for when I hire a lawyer. And most of the time, the Chinese company go overseas, they don't know what they're looking for, and so it's kind of like by luck. Or sometimes they just pick the most expensive one, which most times they are more professional in general. Yeah.
Thank you. We covered mostly the Chinese company, Chinese individuals going global. How about like the U.S. side, right? U.S. side going to China, or can you give us one example that for U.S. company or U.S. Even business person actually engage with Chinese market or China successfully? I
would say because the U.S.-China the situation structure and also the China itself, the market has changed dramatically over the years. So I would say the previous generation, we see a lot of American companies go to China because of cheaper labor. So one of our clients is doing sourcing deals for the American companies. So what he does is he go to China, find the manufacturing plants to make the product for the U.S. Customers, and then he has quite a few offices in China that do that work. So he's a typical classic example of the first generation American company open business in China. I think the challenge for those people is, right now is because China is not cheap anymore, so their business model may not be very sustainable for very long. So that's why we see a lot of Chinese American companies are leaving China market these days through a big deal like merger acquisition of happening right now. The new generation of the American company go to China is typically for the market, because China have a middle class, 300 million people with strong purchasing power. Is the biggest market, best market in the world right now. So all the companies with a high-end product, they all want to go to China side. That's why Alibaba provides this platform for the premium US product going to China market. And on our side, we mostly right now focus on the pharmaceutical side, both from drugs and device from US and Europe go to China market. And as of right now, still highly demanded in China side. And then we depend on both the US pharma company and the China buyer to see what's the best way to fit. Sometimes we do licensing agreement, sometimes we do the merger acquisition, sometimes we do the entire complete sale. So it really depends on case by case.
Wow, thank you for all the cross-cultural knowledge sharing, and it's very professional. We hope you continue to be with us in next episode, and hope to continue to see your success.
Well, thank you very much for having me here. I love to be part of the community.
Thank you.
Okay, that's our show this week. Don't forget to visit howchinaworkspodcast.com/resources to find the information for those How China Works live events, to learn more about Li Shu and more. On behalf of Yingling Li, I'm Brendan Davis. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next week on How China Works.